Welcome to the GSMC Fitness Podcast, the show that helps you sort through all of the trends, new and old, of the fitness world. We'll talk about yoga, running, Zumba, weightlifting, and everything in between. Whether you've got your fitness routine down to a science or you're just starting out and looking for direction, you'll find educational and entertaining information on the GSMC Fitness Podcast.
Hey guys, welcome to GSMC Fitness Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Cynthia, and happy Wednesday, everyone. I hope you all are having a great day so far, or evening, night, whatever time of day you are tuning in to this podcast right now. I hope I find you well, and I'm actually really not motivated, I feel really energized right now, and I'm not sure why, because I've been up since like the crack of dawn, 4 a.m., and I've just been on the go, but I don't know, I feel great, and I'll get into it a little more in greater detail, but I want to just first kind of catch up with you guys. I feel like I haven't talked to you in a while, so I think there's a few updates I need to give you guys. For one, I am pretty proud of myself because I've been very consistent in my training, in my nutrition, and just overall killing it as far as me, myself, and I right now. That's kind of what I'm saying right now. So me, myself, and I are doing great. We are thriving. And I actually have a really exciting mini trip planned this weekend. I'm going to be gone for literally 2.5 days. So like hardly a whole weekend, but I'm going to be visiting one of my best friends out in Vegas. So she moved out there during the pandemic, like in March. And she has just been living her best life in the desert, in the mountains of Las Vegas with her aunt. It's my best friend and her aunt in this big house with a nice pool, really just chill vibes, which is what I need right now. You know, I'm not trying to go to Vegas and party. I will eventually, but I feel like right now is not the time. And I'm just really excited to get away, you know, like get away from my normal routine, get away from what I'm used to doing all the time. It gets really redundant, you know, as much as I love fitness and as much as I love, you know, working out and like being in the gym and teaching classes and all of that good stuff, it's just, it gets redundant. Like as much as you love to do something, it gets redundant, and it's good to like step away from that routine and just get out of that routine for even if it's a short weekend away. So I am very excited. We have a lot of plans that her and I are going to be doing, and a lot of business talk that we're going to be sorting out. So I'm just like really freaking excited, okay? If you can't tell by my voice. With all of that being said, I mentioned already how I feel really energized and I feel great. And I believe it's because this week is my deload week. And that is basically what we're going to be touching on and discussing throughout today's episode. We're going to be talking about deloading. What does deload mean in the health and fitness world? Do you need to do it? The different deloading methods and all of that good stuff. So again, we're going to talk about deloads, how to deload, and everything in between. So definitely stay tuned, stick around, because we have a lot of exciting things to cover. And I think deloading is a really important method to discuss. I think in terms of fitness, a lot of people aren't aware of like what a deload is, how to properly deload, and they don't understand the why. Like, why are you telling me to regress from my training method? And again, this isn't a cookie cutter program. So everyone's whys are going to be slightly different, but nonetheless, we're going to discuss all of the nitty gritty detail right here, right now. Everything you need to know on deload weeks and how to deload. So I know some of you may be sitting there like, what is a deload, right? How do you deload? What should you deload? Like, what is a deload? I know I said that twice, but that's probably what a lot of you are thinking right now, especially my novice gym goers right now. If you're like most people, you probably spend a lot of time focusing on what you're doing inside of the gym, right? You smash your workouts day in and day out for weeks on end, maybe even months. Then all of a sudden you hit a plateau, right? It's one of our least favorite things in the fitness game, hitting a plateau. Basically, you are staying stagnant. You are not improving. You're not getting stronger. You're literally staying the same. No matter how hard you try, you just can't break through this one. You know, I've been there. I'm sure many of you have been there as well. And it's really annoying, you know, when you give 110% each and every session, but still in that plateau. You've made every minor tweak to your workout program that you can, and your nutrition, your sleep, and supplementation are all on point. Still, after a few more weeks, you haven't seen the positive changes you were hoping for, and now you're mentally drained and exhausted. What is there left to do? And what if I told you guys, one of the biggest recovery tools that could help you blast through those plateaus was, in fact, to take a week and actually spend less time in the gym? Sounds a little crazy, right? But it's true. It sounds counterproductive, but it's true. I'm talking about deload weeks. And if you spent the last 30 seconds right now that I've been talking, nodding your head to the scenario above that I've painted for you, they're exactly what you need to break through your most recent plateau. So that is one big why people get into deload weeks and start deload weeks. Of course, you don't need to hit a plateau to begin a deload week. You can, again, I don't want to get into too much detail about the whys right now because I will be covering that as we get through today's episode. So let me finally answer, what is a deload week? I kind of gave you guys a hint. You know, you're spending less time in the gym, but it's not just that. A deload week is exactly what it sounds like. It's a week to deload, relax, unwind, and give your body that extra little recovery it needs so you can reboard the gain train once the week is up. They are basically planned breaks or a lessening of your total training volume for a 1 week period. When planned appropriately and executed to meet, your individual fitness goals, they can help you recharge both your mind and your body. A lot goes into planning these deload weeks, and the type of and how you deload will be dependent on what exactly you're trying to accomplish with your workouts. Does that make sense? So again, you are regressing, you are stepping away for a little bit from the gym. It doesn't mean completely, although there are some individuals who do step away from the gym for an entire week. That can't be me. I'm sorry, but especially my job entails me to stay at the gym and teach classes. So it's really hard for me to not stay and work out after I'm done teaching since I'm already there. I'm already in the environment, immersed. I might as well just get the workout done, right? So me personally, a deload week, a non-ideal deload week for me is stepping away from the gym completely. Like that's not going to happen in my case. However, there are some people who do that. people who like compete or are done after a meeting or a meet. So again, many different whys as to why people deload and how they do it. So we're going to get into some of the deload methods right after this commercial break.
Do you want to be healthier, yet you just don't know what to do? All these shows telling you this and that, but nothing seems to work. Well, listen close. Golden State Media Concepts has got something great for you. The Health and Wellness Podcast dedicated to workout trends, healthy eating habits, diet, and everything about healthy living. Join us in our banters as we help you not just live life to the fullest, but live it to the healthiest.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to GSMC Fitness Podcast. As I explained in the previous segment, a deload week is exactly what it sounds like. A week to step back a little bit, relax, unwind from all of that heavy lifting that you've been, doing for the last several weeks or even months. So with that being said, you guys know what a deload week is. Now, how do you properly execute a deload? Well, there's a few different ways you can do this. And the first way, generally speaking, there are three different forms of deloading. And the type of deload you ultimately choose will have a lot to do with your short and long-term goals. So the first type of deloading includes reducing the load and intensity used, which is actually exactly what I've been doing this week. I have been reducing my intensity and my overall load of the weight that I'm pulling or pushing for this week only. I've been doing a lot of band work. I'm not doing anything on my shoulders, so no barbell back squats. I did do a little bit of barbell back squat or barbell hip thrust today, but I did 40% of my 1 rep max, which is pretty typical for a deload week. So for this type of deload week, you'll keep the volume you use the same, but you will only use 40 to 60% of your 1 rep max. And a lot of times this leads to the trainee using about half of the weight they would normally use during their sets. So if you normally can back squat 200 pounds, you're going to be doing a back squat for 100 instead for your deload. This form of deloading is best suited for those who are not competing but are still looking to maintain a higher level of performance after their deload is completed. And I feel like I am the ideal candidate for that. I am in no way, shape, or form competing, nor am I interested in competing. That doesn't mean that I don't respect those who compete, but that's just not my cup of tea. So again, I am not someone who is planning on competing. I am looking for a higher level of performance, progressively overloading. Again, my main goal basically this entire year has been to keep my waist small and keep my booty growing. Of course, it's a lot harder than, just like going to the gym and like squatting. Like there's so much more to growing your glutes, growing your lower body in general. And because I'm trying to progressively overload and elevate to the next level, the deload is perfect for me. And especially because I've been going really heavy for the last 8 weeks. I've just been really trying to do my max. And so that's why for this deload week, I've been reducing my load. I've been reducing it to 40%. So I've been doing 40% of my 1 rep max for my main lift. So for my barbell hip thrust, for my barbell sumo deadlift. I've been doing 40% of my 1 rep max. And I've also, like I mentioned, been doing a lot of band work. So a lot of like the booty bands, the long bands, TRX. So just lots of like trying to go back to the basics, not relearn, but just really hone in on the fundamentals of working out. I feel like with social media and all of these fitness influencers, they try to like do the most extreme type of workouts. People try to be overly creative with workouts, and sometimes it works, but other times it's all for show, y'all. So if you are following someone on Instagram right now who is trying to do a box jump or places like a Bosu ball on top of like 3 boxes, and you try to hop on top of it for stability with holding a barbell on your back, like that's just a recipe for disaster. So sometimes it's good to not do all of the overly creative, fun stuff you see on Instagram, and it's just better to stick to the basics, stick to the foundations, master those. And then once you master the basics, like a basic body weight squat, a basic push-up, a pull-up, then maybe start adding in those other elements, start adding in other equipment to, elevate your fitness level and performance. So I just went on like a whole tangent on that, but again, reduce my load. So again, 40% of my 1 rep max, intensity as well. I'm just kind of staying active for the week, but I'm not really exerting too much force. And it's really cool because I have this MyZone waistband thing that I wear, and it's like a heart monitor that calculates my heart rate, how many calories I'm burning, and basically how much energy I'm exerting. So I've been in the 60% range, so I'm not pushing myself too hard, just still kind of getting my body moving for the week. So again, that is probably one of the most popular methods to use, is just reducing the load and intensity used. I'm also reducing the volume of work I'm doing. It says here to keep the volume. Again, I'm really just trying to deload, like I'm really trying to let my body rest, because I've been going hard and heavy the last 8 weeks. So again, that's the first one. The second method, deload method, is actually to reduce the volume used. Again, I personally reduce load, intensity, and volume. I do all 3. Some don't prefer to do it that way. Again, it's just all preference when it comes to the deloading. So what this means, how you reduce the volume used. For this type of deload week, you will keep the weight you use for each exercise the same, but you will cut out half of the sets you would normally perform in a given training session. So for instance, if you were doing 5 sets of 10 barbell back squats, and you were lifting 200 pounds, you would still lift those 200 pounds, but instead of doing 5 sets, you would decrease to 2 or 3. This form of deloading is best suited for competitive athletes or someone nearing a competition to keep the performance high after their deload week is completed. So again, if you're like a power lifter, Olympic lifter, bikini competitions, if you're in that world of competing and you have an event coming up, then this specific deload would best suit you, reducing the volume but still keeping the same load. And the third deloading method is to change the form of exercise you perform. As someone more concerned about general health these days, this form of deloading is a lot of trainers' personal favorites. For this type of deload week, you will completely change up the form of exercise you choose to do, be it swapping out weight training for a lower intensity bodyweight circuit, mobility focused workouts, swimming, or going on lengthy hikes throughout the week. So you're just completely changing for the week, like barely lifting any iron, just changing the form of exercise you do. As mentioned, this type of deloading is perfect for the recreational lifter or athlete who is not competing or worried about higher levels of performance at the moment. So I feel like I kind of incorporate all three, to be honest. Like, I'm reducing my load. I'm not lifting as heavy as I should be. My intensity is not as high as it used to be. My volume, I'm still keeping the sets the same, honestly. So I'm still doing like 4 sets of everything. Changing the form of exercise I perform a little bit, but not too much. I'm doing like a bar class this weekend. So, I'm kind of incorporating all three in my personal deload method. So now that, we understand and got the basic knowledge of the 3 forms of how to deload, I want to look more into why you or your coach should include periodical deload weeks into your workout programs to maximize your gains, okay? Again, I know this may sound counterproductive, like taking a step back from your workout regimen, but in the long run, I think this is actually going to lead to more optimal training results, incorporating, periodical deload weeks. So you guys, we're going to cut into a very brief break right now. And when we come back, we're going to discuss on the why you should deload.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Hey guys, welcome back to GSMC Fitness Podcast. So now that we, just went through the 3 main different deloading methods that most lifters incorporate into their routines, I want to now get into why you should even do this. Like, why should I deload? Why should I regress and step back from my training regimen? And here's why. The ideology behind why you should deload is it can help prevent injuries from overtraining by giving your joints, tendons, and ligaments a break from heavy or high volume training that it couldn't otherwise get from your planned rest days during your program. I mean, aside from a physical standpoint, a planned week away from lifting heavy weights can do a lot for, not just a lifter's physical health, but their mental health as well. Many lifters and, gym goers don't realize exactly how strenuous weight training can be on the central nervous system. As much as we love going to the gym and lifting heavy iron and it's good to take a step back. Like, your body literally needs a break. Can you imagine, just going months and months and months on end without letting your body catch a break and just, constantly lifting heavy for like 8 months straight, like you're going to be fatigued. You're going to be tired. And that's going to do you more harm than good. So if you're the type who prepares for their training sessions by downing 2 to 3 scoops of pre-workout and blasting heavy metal for the duration of their 45 to an hour and a half, training session, you'll likely benefit from dialing down the intensity for a week. And then, this is actually a really good point that I just made, because now that I'm thinking about it, I myself have taken a break from all supplements except for protein powder, but I have not used my pre-workout at all this week. So it's also good to not just deload from your physical training, but also like take a step back from those supplements. It's also not good to consistently be feeding your body these supplements every single day, for 8 months straight or longer. So while you deload, I also think you should reduce or just completely eliminate your supplement intake for the week, since again the intensity isn't going to be as high. So yeah, when I said that out loud, I was like, wait, that's like a really good point I just made right now. So anyway, like I said, deloading makes a lot of sense if you think about it through the lens of the 3 stages of stress, okay? So the first one, stage 1, alarm reaction. The alarm reaction to stress is the initial reaction to a stressor, such as lifting weights. And this is a point where the body is forced to adapt to the stress you're inflicting on your body by increasing blood flow and oxygen to your muscles. If you're relatively new to a stimulus, or like if you're trying a new workout for the day, you may even experience delayed onset muscle soreness, so DOMS, 24 to 72 hours after completing the activity. And I feel like this is something that we've all experienced. Actually, this is one of like the many downfalls of working out. It's just like the delayed onset muscle soreness. It's just uncomfortable. So alarm reaction, right? It's a new stimulus to the body. We are sending signals that our body is forced to adapt to the stress that we are inflicting on our body. So that's stage 1. Stage 2 is resistance development. In stage 2 of the stages of stress, your body increases its functional capacity to deal with a stressor. And this is the stage every trainee looks forward to, because your body makes adaptations, aka the gains, the gains that we're all trying to chase. So depending on the form of training you're participating in, these adaptations could be increased capability to recruit muscle fibers, strength output, or something more along the lines of an increase in cross-sectional area, muscle growth. All things are fine and dandy up to this point. It's in stage 3 where injury can occur. And stage 3 is exhaustion. In the final stage of stress, exhaustion may occur due to prolonged or intolerable amounts of stress being placed on the body. This can lead to injuries such as muscle strains, joint pain, stress, fractures, and emotional fatigue. However, if you've planned your workout programs appropriately, you will be able to avoid this stage by taking a deload week prior to reaching the point of exhaustion in your training, okay? And this is really the most important reason as to why you should deload. Like, putting too much stress on your body, going so hard for so long, it's just too much on your body. Like, it literally needs a break. Literally. I don't know why I did that. So let's just ignore it and pretend that did not happen right now. So again, you guys, that is the why you should deload. You should deload because you need to give your central nervous system a break. You need to give your joints, your tendons, your ligaments, your overall body a breather from that heavy iron that you've been consistently working with, okay? It's not good to keep the body under that much tension and stress for that long. So the question, when should you deload? Like, when should you do this, right? So like, hey, you know what a deloading is. You know the method. So when should you do it now? When you deload, or how frequently you deload, will depend on several factors, including training style, training level, your goals, and your age. With that said, there are a couple schools of thought on the frequency in which a trainee should deload. The first one is 3 weeks on, 1 week off. And the 3 weeks on, 1 week off deload schedule is where you give everything you've got for each training session over the course of 3 weeks, then dial it back 1 week and deload. And this style of deloading is great for in-season performance athletes, trainees who simply can't hold anything back once they get started in the gym, and even the older lifter who may need those additional recovery days to perform to the best of their abilities during training sessions. So people who are, maybe ages 50 or older, have chronic health conditions. These are the people who need a little bit more frequent deload weeks. Nothing wrong with that. It's just more rest for your body. Another way to deload, or when you should deload, is to deload every 6 to 8 weeks. The 6 to 8 week crowd consists of those who choose to deload every 6 to 8 weeks. And this is probably the more diverse group of lifters, as it can include performance athletes, some competitive lifters, advanced lifters, and a lot of your recreational lifters, aka me. I consider myself a recreational lifter. This is actually, I chose to deload after 8 weeks. And the reason why I did 8 weeks is because I was just going really hard for a while, I think 2 months of consistent work was something doable for me, something that I knew I can get done. And I knew that my training sessions were going to be lit, period. I knew I could do it. So 8 weeks was suitable for me. And, another way you can deload is every 12 to 16 weeks. And you're probably seeing the trend here. Those who fall into this category will deload every 12 to 16 weeks. And this group will mostly include competitive bodybuilders prepping for a show. A lot of the preps for big competitions will begin in the 12-week range, or for intermediate lifters. And then lastly, 0 to 3 times per year is another way to calculate when you should deload. Now for this one, there is a small group of people who believe that if your training is programmed professionally, your diet and nutrition is as good as it can be, and you're getting plenty of sleep each night, you'll never have to take a rest week, okay? I'm not of that camp. I'm not. I think to lead the healthiest life possible, finding time away from the gym will lead to better quality gains and gym longevity. That's really the goal, is gym longevity, okay? Regardless, there are certain populations who do benefit from minimal deloads over the course of a year, and they mostly include those who are brand new to training and have been training for less than a year, okay? If you're a novice to training and just getting into it, you really don't need that many frequent deloads. The reason being is that they are so new to the gym, they may not be placing enough stress onto their body to warrant a full deload week at a time, if that makes sense. If you're working out for 8 weeks and you're just kind of going through the movements, you're not really placing your body under that much stress, then you don't need to deload. Deloading is for those who are really lifting heavy, high intensity, lots of volume work. and your body is literally like almost asking for a break. Okay? So we're going to come to a very brief break right now. And when we come back, we're going to discuss what should you do after your deload week.
The GSMC Life and Happiness podcast takes you on a journey of exploration. We'll discuss tried and true methods alongside the latest trends of how to best live your life to its fullest and happiest. From psychology to meditation, science to self-help books, the GSMC Life and Happiness podcast will help you to discover what makes you happy and how you can live life being the best you possible. Download the GSMC Life and Happiness podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Hey guys, welcome back to GSMC Fitness Podcast. Let's just dive into it. What should you do after your deload week? Return to the weights, of course, right? That's like, hello, duh. No, but in all seriousness, it depends on what your goals are. If you're working with a trainer who writes your programming, you probably already have a good idea about what is coming next. If you do your own programming, I think it's important to ask yourself the following 3 questions during your deload week. 1, are my goals still the same? 2, am I still making progress with my current workout program? And 3, am I enjoying the workout program I'm doing? If you answered yes to all 3 of those questions I just said, then return using the same workout you were doing before your deload week. If you answered no to any of the questions, it may be time to switch things up. So here's my final word on deload weeks, you guys. I think that deloading is a smart tool to utilize to keep you injury-free, both physically and mentally. A solid deload week is a planned portion of a longer workout schedule. The 3 main ways you can deload are by reducing volume, intensity, or completely changing up your routine. How frequently you will deload depends on your ultimate goals, training style, training level, and your age. And after you've completed your deload week, prepare to hit the weights full force to keep the gains coming. And still have questions on deloading or want to contribute some of your own knowledge, you guys, I definitely would love to hear from you. So definitely let's carry on the conversation in the comments section. Tweet us at GSMC_fitness and we can talk more on deloading weeks, on different methods, what works for you, what methods have you tried, all of it. I love to interact with you guys. And before we end today's podcast, I want to just give a quick recommendation for all of you. We've talked about, in the deload week, you're reaching 40 to 60% of your 1 rep max. But how do you calculate that? I got you. There's this app, and I believe it's only for Apple users. So I'm sorry, Android users, this is not for you. For the 1 rep max, there's an app that's literally called 1RM. But there are 2 almost identical apps that are called 1RM. One app is a white icon and another one's the black icon. You're going to want to download the black icon. So it's the black icon 1RM. And in this app, it's really cool because you input your estimated repetitions that you can complete at a certain amount of weight. So say, for instance, for me, I know I can complete 12 good reps at 205 pounds for a barbell hip thrust. So I put 12 by 205. And so my estimated 1 rep max is 295. And in the app, you click on percentages and it lists here your percentages from 5% all the way to 125% of your 1 rep max. So my 40% of 1 rep max for a barbell hip thrust is going to be around 180 pounds. So let's just round it up to 120. So this app does all of the math for you. You don't, there's no need to like scroll on your phone and like do the calculator and like do all this math when like this app does it for you. And you can save those weights in your phone, and it's just really freaking cool. So again, I highly recommend downloading the app. It's been really helpful for me in my deload week and calculating what accurate weight I should be using. So you guys, that's going to wrap up today's episode here at the GSMC Fitness Podcast. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment, all of that good stuff, because that tremendously helps the show. And I'll catch you guys here for the next one.
You've been listening to the GSMC Fitness Podcast, part of the GSMC Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcasts on Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Google Play, and any app where you listen to podcasts. Just type in GSMC to find all of the shows from the GSMC Podcast Network. From movies to music, from sports to entertainment, from business news to weird news, we cover it all. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook and listen to these podcasts on YouTube. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's podcast.